Because 50 years ago, Canadians across the country stopped what they were doing and took a peek behind the Iron Curtain as the Summit 72 series captivated the nation. It, of course, culminated with that famous goal, that epic win. And today, the Speaker of the House welcomed members of the 72 team to the House of Commons.
Sporting events make magic when they bring people together. And all of you made magic on the ice all those years ago.
Those men, led by Paul Henderson, of course, who scored that winning goal, met with MPs, uniting parliamentarians of all stripes, the way perhaps only hockey can in this country. I had the opportunity to speak with Paul Henderson himself. Have a listen. Hi, Mr. Henderson. A real pleasure to meet you and an honor to have you on our program this evening.
Well, it's good to be anywhere.
What was it like, sir, for you today in the House of Commons to get the reception that you and your teammates did?
Well, it is amazing after 50 years. And there were just some wonderful speeches today about the team and what it meant for Canada. And so all of us that are here, it's just, there's a camaraderie that we had. We went to war and we ended up, winning the series, and then it affected Canada. So it's really nice I've been celebrating this now for 50 years. That's pretty good.
I think the rest of Canada kind of has too. What was it like to see your teammates again too? My guess is you hadn't seen a lot of each other during the pandemic. So what was it like all to be back together again?
Oh, for sure. And we lie like crazy to each other. Boy, you really look good. But it's scary, how old we've gotten over these years. But there is, every time I run into somebody on that 72 team, it didn't matter if he hadn't even played a game. He was a member of our team, and there's just that sort of, just terrific.
And if you could, after all these years, do you still think about those moments, especially the big moment? Do you still sit and reflect on it? And if you do, what are you thinking of?
Well, if I'm out in public, even 50 years later, people come up to me and they want to tell me where they were, what they were doing at that time. And so it just hasn't gone away. And another thing, that it really bothers a lot of Canadians that I'm not in the Hall of Fame. And they tell me that. And it's the worst thing they can do is they put me in the Hall of Fame, then everybody would forget about me. I'm a lot better on the outside because people are ticked off about it. So, truthfully, if I never got in, it wouldn't bother me one iota. There's a lot of guys that had better careers than I did and are not in the Hall of Fame. So it doesn't bother me one iota.
Well, it's good that it doesn't bother you, but I do understand why it bothers a lot of Canadians. As you were going from politician to politician in a room full of people that are sometimes fighting each other in various ways, did anyone say anything to you that you're going to take with you, or that you would take particular note of, or what did you make of the atmosphere and the fact that it actually brought everybody together, which is a nice thing for Canadians to see on Parliament Hill these days?
Well, and a couple of them mentioned that. Like, hockey, it brings us together. Like the Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup, Montreal Canadian fans and the people around Montreal. But you see, in 72, it was the whole country. And we celebrate. And I got a letter from a guy from down the East Coast, and he said, Paul, I was a Brit. I immigrated to Canada 6 years ago, but I was a Brit living in Canada. When you scored that goal, I became a Canadian. He went crazy. And so still get stories all the time.
And just before I let you go, I know your time is very limited, Mr. Henderson. I wanted to ask you, look, 50 years ago we were talking about Canada and Russia, and now there's a lot of focus on Russia for somewhat different reasons. I'm wondering what you think about that in the context of that monumental, not only hockey win, but symbolic win too those years ago.
Well, it's, war solves nothing. It just breaks my heart for all those people that have died over there, what I think is needlessly. I mean, get together and work something out. So it's tragic, just tragic.
Mr. Henderson, I will leave it there. I really thank you so much for lending us some of your time, and of course for everything that happened 50 years ago. I count myself among those Canadians who remember the details of it very, very, very specifically. Thank you, sir.
You're more than welcome.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.